All right. How you doing, Anthony? Without further ado, the co-host of Birds 365, who on that show, John McMullen says players don't give a shit about legacy and records. The great Zander Krause. How you doing, big brother? Happy New Year.
What's up, Big Silz? How you living, brother? Happy New Year to everybody. Hope everyone stays safe tonight and has a good night.
How's your Bama team doing?
They lost. Look at it. Look at this asshole.
No way.
Xander rolled tide. Now fuck you, Nick. They lost 19-30. One of the ugliest football games I ever watched. You know, I'm thinking, Silz, I got a day of work. I can sit in. I can produce Cilio. I got the TV on in the office. I'll enjoy some Alabama football while I work today. Yeah, well, what a stinker that was. I mean, that was.
You know what happened? Bad. Can I tell you what happened there to you guys? Listen, here's what happened. Nick ain't there with the bullwhip, getting those guys ready for a game that doesn't matter. How many of those players do you think have been in games that never mattered?
5. I know. You're right. Is it too early for me to be out on him? I can't be out on the coach yet, can I?
Yeah, you can.
All right, because I'm out on him.
You got a standard. Don't you have a standard? That ain't it. Losing to Vandy.
Yeah.
That's not a standard.
Vandy. Now we lost to Oklahoma. Vandy.
A 6-6 Oklahoma team you lost to?
Yeah, we lost to them. Vanderbilt. We just lost to Kitty, Michigan, 19-13. I mean, we stink, dude.
Wow, man. Dude,
stinks.
Hey, I thought my shit was bad. Okay, I got a text earlier, man, when they said, hey, they fired Guidry, that D coordinator. I'm like, you had to, man. The guy's blows. I wonder if they'll give that to Jason Taylor, the Hall of Fame defensive lineman, make him D coordinator. I suggested that to him. We'll see what happens. I mean, Mario will probably bring somebody else in here. But anyway, hey, dude, would you come up with that topic? Tell the folks, man, prior to the program, because I agree with you. You talk about a guy who's not lucid as an owner and a guy who is kind of weird as an owner. Pat McAfee went knee deep in on the Colts and their culture. And then what does Shane do? He turns around and makes an asshole comment when he goes like this. Could you believe when he goes, Pat goes, people are late to meetings, they're late to treatment, they're late to good people don't do that. You know what Shane's comment was? Well, not everybody's on time. You're like, bro, that ain't the answer you're looking for if you're an owner or a guy to lead your group. That's not the answer you're looking for. Either don't answer it, but don't give that. There's no doubt, man. And then get this, from what I'm understanding from Pat and them guys, you want to hear what Anthony Richardson does? He practices when he wants to, and if he doesn't feel like it, they don't practice him. And then on top of that, when he put his hand up because he was too tired in the game after going through a couple series, he pulled himself out of a game. They're accepting that behavior. I'm shocked with Shane. That Shane, the owner must really like Anthony Richardson.
Shane Steichen is a great coordinator.
Yep.
Being a head coach is a different game. It's a different ball game. And
Absolutely.
I'll tell you this, I'm impressed with Ben Johnson and what he does in Detroit. I'm on the same watch for him next year when he takes a head coaching gig. He's one of those guys that I think he's a great second fiddle. He's a great coordinator right now, probably the best offensive coordinator in the league. But you get your head coaching gig, it's a different story. And I don't think Shane right now is handling that very well. But look, I don't want to kill him. I just think he's going to get fired because also you got to factor in that owner, right, Celia, where he's functional. But I like the idea of Shane, man. I like him. I like the idea of Shane coming back here. And somebody mentioned it to me on the blanking on who it was, but on the post game show, and I forget, we were giving the update on the games, and I'm like, yeah, Colts got destroyed today by the Giants. And he's like, yeah, Shane's coming back. And I'm like, oh, man, that's where I got it from. And I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm watching that game last night, and I'm like, man, I think certain guys are really meant to be a coordinator in this league. You know, they just shouldn't take the jump. They should. Frank Reich's a great example of it, you know. Vic Fangio, great example of it, right? Jeff Stoutland is a great example of it at a lesser level as a position coach. He could have been a coordinator probably how many times in his career? He said, no, this is what I want to do. Kingsbury, another good one, Brian. So I'm going to watch that with Ben, but That's where I think Shane is, man. I don't think he's a very good head coach right now, and I'd like to see him back here in Philly. I think that'd be a good match. Because I don't think Kellen's done a good job.
No, he hasn't.
No, I don't think Kellen's.
But to your point, and to Gary Cobb's point, it's a nothing burger right now until, like Jalen says, nothing's nothing until something becomes something.
Exactly.
And this is what this thing is here. How about Frank Reich? Would you consider, because of the relationship that the organization has? Now, again, I don't think Frank would be a great fit for him, but did he not run the RPO with Nick Foles?
Yeah, but this is a different style here. The reason I like Shane is because we've seen it. I mean, he's worked with Jalen. You know, there's no element of surprise there. They're coming back, and it'll be easier to bridge that. Now, listen, to be completely blunt, I don't think this is happening because I don't think they're firing Kellen Moore after going 13-3. Unless they decided to do something like they did last year with Desai, and they just don't think he's getting the job done. I don't think that's the case, but I don't think he's going anywhere. So I will put that preface in here, is that I don't think Kellen's going anywhere, but I like Shane. I like Shane as a matchup with Jalen Hurts.
If Carson Wentz had 2,903 passing yards and 18 touchdowns, would he be getting killed by the Philly media right now?
He'd be getting crushed, man. He'd be getting crushed. He threw for 4,000 with Travis Fulgham got crushed. I mean, what are we talking about here?
Right.
You know?
Okay, think about that. I mean, why, again, the passing game right now in Philadelphia, there's even going into the offseason here, let's just take a look even after the regular season. It's a conversation, Zander. They've got to do something more appropriate because guess why? Look, why have the assets if you're not going to use them? And by the way, don't you think that kid up in Washington kind of proves the point that Jalen couldn't make that guy look good? And there you have Jaden Daniels making that guy look like a number 2. That guy was on your football team. You brought a guy in here, wasted a third rounder, and he's got 12 catches for 100 yards. And he played every game.
Yeah, he stinks. He absolutely stinks. This is the greatest analogy for Kellen Moore. Where is it? Abe just put it in. He said he was given a Ferrari. Kellen gifted a Ferrari, and he did nothing with it. He didn't crash it. So it's like, should I be happy that my coach didn't crash my Ferrari?
No,
or my driver didn't crash my Ferrari? Shouldn't you want a driver that gets the most out of your Ferrari? That's what I would want. That's what we should want. So, Kellen, you know, look, I'm not upset with where we are. We're obviously winning a lot of football games. Clinch the NFC East, going to be the 2nd seed in the NFC. I think the team is in a good spot, but the passing offense stinks. So, you know, I think it's something to consider going into next year but we got to see how the year plays out. I mean, so if they march their way to the Super Bowl, I mean, what we're talking about is stupid to have this conversation on December 31st.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think that's sustainable to think that Saquon Barkley is going to go for $2,000 next year.
No, he's not. He's not.
Okay.
He's not. But you'll have another year with Kellen. You know, you got, I guess, at that point.
Okay.
Because you're not going to fire him, right? I mean, if that
I don't think so. I don't think so. Depending if they get bounced in the opening round.
I mean, I'll give you a bright spot. Can't get worse next year.
No.
31st.
No.
I mean, you literally can't get worse in passing.
No, it can't. And I agree with people and you on this one. Hey, Silz, about giving them a year and another year together. Don't you think that would be a little bit better? They would know one another more, and you could tailor an offense around them a little bit better? Yeah, sure. Probably think so. But once again, this comes down to me with his ability to do it. And I don't think he has it.
Yeah,
I think that he is okay as a passer. He's brilliant as an all-around player, but I don't think he's ever going to be a guy you're going to count on to go week to week if you had to win ball games to win you a Super Bowl throwing the ball. I just don't think. And they knew that his ability to run the ball the way he did was not going to be sustainable. So what'd they do? They went out and got Barkley. I mean, Jalen Hurts is not going to last running the ball 180 times a year and throwing the ball 390 times a year. That wasn't going to last.
Right.
It's just not going to. And by the way, would we not agree that since the 22 season, he's really regressed as a passer?
He certainly hasn't improved as a passer. So I guess yes, that's a nice way of saying he has regressed, right?
And how do you constitute the wins?
Well, they got a great team. I mean, listen, I'm an Eagles fan before I'm a Jalen Hurts fan. You know, that's always going to be true. By the way, I found a hilarious video today of me must have been 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was 2020. It was recorded 2 weeks into the season. And I'm recording a video that I didn't post anywhere, but I got a camera for Christmas. This was back at the very beginning of before I got into content, but I knew I wanted to somewhat get into this route. And I took a video of me in my Eagles hat, and I'm like, it's time to fucking bench Carson Wentz. He fucking stinks. I'm calling for Jalen Hurts. I might post it up on the channel. It's so funny.
That's good, man. That's good. Going back finding that. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's funny. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. Jalen's winning too much right now to make any sort of click or anything. But what do you attribute the wins to then? If it's not the quarterback, it's got to be the roster.
Howie.
I'll tell you what's kind of weird too.
Howie.
No, I'll tell you what's kind of weird is that in Philly and even nationally, everybody gives Jalen credit for the wins, right? They always talk about like his record and everything like that. But like you talk about Detroit, you never hear Jared Goff. You hear what a great team, what a great offense. And I'm guilty of it too, but I'm watching that game last night. I'm like, this dude makes the right
in a game that didn't matter.
He makes the right. What a great! You missed it. I mean, I know you said
I said I watched a little, not a lot. I didn't watch it all. No.
Man, I was glued. I literally watched every play of that game. I was so locked in. It was such a good football game, and I'm like, well, the defense sucked in the game, but the offenses were just incredible. And I'm like, Jared Goff made throw after throw after throw, the right read, the right throw, on the money, accurate, on time, time after time again. And I'm like, this guy should be an MVP candidate. His team is 14-2. He should be an MVP candidate, but there it's all team, which is fine. But Philly, it's Jalen gets a lot of credit for it, and the team is great. I'm not trying to take away from Jalen, but our team is great, man. Our team is freaking exceptional.
Don't you think that Jared Goff has gone there and changed the culture around? Where were they before?
Yeah, well, I think Dan Campbell's a bigger proponent of that, but
okay.
I love Dan Campbell. I love him. I don't care if Eagle fans get mad at me.
Golf not getting any love?
What's that?
Golf not getting any love?
No, he deserves some love.
14 years.
But I mean, don't you agree that the kind of coach that Campbell is, he has such a persona and an aura, and he's such a kind of an alpha figure that he would be the one that would flip that more than Jared Goff. He's more of a subdued guy. But I think the success that Jared Goff is having is a big influence. And I'm a massive Campbell guy, so I just like him. That's the kind of coach I'd want to play for. If I played football, that's the kind of coach I'd want to play for. I'd want to play for a mean motherfucker. That gives it to me straight, that wears his emotions on his sleeve, that cares about his guys. That's what I like. I'm not saying Nick doesn't have that, but he has it in a different way. He's a little softer. He's a little bit, I don't know. He's just not my kind of dude. I don't know. I just don't like. It's not my style. It's not what I would pick for my squad.
I want to show you something here. That since November 6th of 2021, the Detroit Lions are 30-9. And the first year they were 3-10, or 3-10-1. Or when Golf was there, he only played 14 games that year.
Yeah,
but I think there were 16, so he missed 2. So they didn't have a very good season that year. But since that point, in November, the middle of the year in 21, they're 30-9 in the regular season.
Yeah, they're good too. I tell you what, if we play them, I'm not saying we can't match up. But, there's a lot of people like, oh, the Eagles have the number 1 defense, and we're going to be able to slow Detroit down. Well, the 49ers have the number 2 defense in the NFL. They're the number 3 pass defense in the NFL, and they're top 10 in rushing too. So the 49ers defense is no Swiss cheese. It's no Lindbergh cheese defense. I mean, they're not having their best year.
Purdy was great last night.
And that's it. That's the type of offense that will pick apart, I think, a zone-based defense. I mean, Jared Goff just sits there. They get Amon-Ra St. Brown. That dude is so good at finding space on the field. So good. That's why they convert so many 4th downs. I'm telling you. Amon-Ra St. Brown gets out. He finds the space. Goff gets the ball out in 2 seconds. It's effortless. It's easy. And you're going to have to score a lot of points if we play the Lions. I don't care about that defense. I know their defense stinks. It does. It's not great. They still have playmakers. You know, they got Kirby Joseph, who's up to 9 picks this year. They got Brian Branch. They still got DJ Reader on the line. That Jack Campbell's actually a pretty good linebacker in the middle. And Teron Arnold's obviously still a pretty good man player, but that defense is beaten up. But you're going to have to score a lot, man, to compete with that.
I think Aaron Glenn's a really good coordinator.
He's not. Yeah, I mean, he was doing really good until they had all those injuries. It's hard to knock the Detroit defense at this point, but because of all the injuries. But even then, look, here's what people don't understand about the Detroit. You know, they're like, oh, the defense sucks. The defense does suck, but the defense also made 2 plays. They got burnt on almost every drive last night. They made 2 plays, and that was all Detroit's offense needed to put the game away. You get me 2 turnovers, we capitalize on it. The other team's never going to have a chance. Now, I will say this is, in my opinion, this is my best way to beat the Detroit Lions this year. 6-yard runs.
Yeah.
Down the whole field.
That's right.
And kill the clock. You need 10, 11-minute drives, because if you can limit how many drives their offense gets, then now you're buying points back in the game. And you can get close. That margin of error is going to continue to shrink if you're able to do that.
Let me tell you, this is going to sound crazy, but I think the better matchup in the NFC title game is Detroit than Minnesota.
Better matchup for the Eagles?
Yep. Because I'll tell you why Minnesota can throw it and run it, and they play outstanding defense, and they have one of the top units in the game. The Lions don't have one of the top units because the Lions struggle at the run. Dude, the Vikings have given up.
But I'd rather play the Vikings.
Dude, the Vikings have a better defense.
I know, but in this game, you need to be able versus the Vikings. I think we'll create more stops on defense till you could get into a 24-20 game or a 27-20. If you play Detroit, mark my words, number 1 defense in the NFL. I love it too. They will score 30+ points on us. They will score 30+ on us.
I think Addison and Jefferson are compatible, man. They're great. Look, dude, you're missing it.
Who do you trust more?
That's my problem.
Arnold or Goff?
True.
And then the next question would be, who do you like more, O'Connell or Ben Johnson? I'm taking the Lions guys on both of them. I like O'Connell, but Ben Johnson's a really good.
I'll tell you what. Who do you like, Brian Flores or Aaron Glenn?
Brian Flores, probably. Well, if I'm going up against the matchup, I'd rather match up against Glenn because that the defense is depleted. Okay. Brian Flores, I think, will have Jalen's number. But again, my point is, if you go up against Detroit, if we go up against the Vikings, I think we can get away with scoring 24 points. The
ball on that Lions offense, the Lions defense. I don't know if you can
I hear you. I think you're right, but you're missing what I'm saying. I think we can win a game versus the Vikings by putting 24 points on the board, accounting for the fact that Brian Flores is going to take us out of some drives. If you go up against the Lions, you're going to have to score a lot of freaking points.
You're underestimating Darnold, though, right? That's because you're underestimating Darnold and what he's done this year.
No, I'm questioning the Eagles' offense. This is what I'm really doing.
Well, like I said, if there's going to be a defense in the postseason that scares me the most, there's 2, the Bucs and the Vikings. Yeah, and those 2 coordinators are pretty compatible with one another, and Todd Bowles and Brian Flores. Those 2 guys are exceptional.
I know, but
if you think the Eagles one-dimensional, you can beat them.
But I feel my point with it is that I think I feel better about our defense getting stops on the Vikings more so than I do on the Lions.
Who's covering Jefferson?
Well, I guess you're going to sit in that zone. You're probably going to sit too high all game.
You're going to sit too high zone on Jefferson and Addison.
They're going to work you
underneath the whole day.
Well, it's the Fangio formula, bend but don't break. Give them between the 20s and don't let them get into the end zone. I mean, you get into the end zone, it's a different style, and they've been pretty good in the red zone. Not great this year, but they've been pretty good. My fear with the lot, like I said, I don't fear the Vikings as much because I think we can win a 27-20 game or a 27-24 game.
They're an overall better football team than Detroit, in the fact that they're more at the beginning of the year with Aiden Hutchinson and their full group, Lions are better. And by the way, I picked the Lions to win a Super Bowl. I hear you, but I think they've sustained a lot of losses on that side, Zander. On the defense, for them to be able to line up against Philadelphia and go like this, we're going to stymie that run game. Well, I'm not sure about that.
Well,
Okay,
and they got more
sure
guys coming back. Detroit's got some guys coming back too.
You hear Hutchinson saying that he wants to try to come back for the Super
I'm not worried about him. I think Anzalone's though is going to be back. He'll be back for round 1. So, they're going to add some of those guys back. And like I said, they got a lot of injuries, but man, they still have playmakers, dude, that are healthy. Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph. Kirby Joseph has 9 interceptions this year, dude. He had 2 last.
That's right. Hey, Vikings are healthier also.
I know, but that Detroit.
Dude, I know. No. Dude. Jared Goff.
Let me give you a stat. All right. I just want to give you a stat. All right. By the way, Pumper won our jersey. How funny is that? Brian Pumper won our Saquon jersey. Brian, was that you that emailed me? Brian, I don't want to be duped by a potential Jalenite, as you would call them. All right. So make sure you put in the chat if that's you that emailed me. I did get the email. So just make sure it's you. Just want to make sure it's you, and then I'll get your info, send you out your jersey. All right. Here's a stat, Silz. I got a couple stats, all right, on this Lions offense, because this team's going to score 30 on us. I'm telling you right now. They are the first team in NFL history to have 2 running backs go over 1,000 and 2 wide receivers over 1,000. That's 4,000-yard guys on that offense, all right? And remember, they're without David Montgomery right now. Jahmyr Gibbs looked like he didn't miss a beat last night, all right? The Lions offense, they have a single game of less than 20 points. They have 2 games of 50+, 6 games of 40+, 6 games of 40+, 9 games of 30+, and 15 games of 20+, and they have a 200-point differential this year. 200-point differential.
I have another stat for you here on the Lions too. I think they're the first team with, here it is. The Lions in 5 games this year have 40 points with 0 turnovers in those games. They're the first team in NFL history to do that. I mean, hey, dude, that's a pretty proficient and electric offense, to say the least.
My fears with that are really based on the passing game, because how can you keep up? How are you going to keep up with 35 points? That's why I feel better about
it out with them.
If you do, they're going to score, and they're going to
score. You can't lose field positions. Okay? You can't. All right, guys, don't forget, we're going to read all the supers here in a second. Zander, what a call by you. So I heard Nick today on WIP, and Nicky, boy, I'll tell you, man, sometimes he takes the fly and he unzips it. Yeah, man, we're going to get the players' takes. We're going to get the janitors' takes. We're going to get the Slurpee machine guys' takes. We're going to get fucking the parking lot attendants' takes. And then you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk to my dad's office, and then I'm going to go in there and ask my father, Jeffrey Lurie, and his son, Howie Roseman, his adopted son, and his real son, Julian, what do you guys want to do? Can you imagine this? Hey, the players want it.
Nick ain't making that
players
decision.
Want it. Hey, get this. You know what the owner's going to say? I don't fucking care what the players want. I'm telling you what we're going to do here, son. And then he's going to walk back down to his locker room, and he's going to tell everybody, this is my decision. Okay? You're right. This is going to come down from the front office on whether or not they want to go after that record. And I'm going to make a point to you here. I think Howie's going to petition to have the guy get the record. You know why? Because he will be looking like a superstar, bringing a guy with the record of 2105, and he could put that on his resume and say, everyone thought Barkley. John McMullen and I even said it. This guy's not going to be what you think. And he's been more than what we said. 10 times we were, dude, the worst takes of the year is that he was going to be an okay guy because of all the shit that he didn't do in New York. Instead, he's going to probably finish third in the MVP, maybe probably third in the MVP, could be fourth, depending on what happens with Burrow. But, dude, man, I think Howie wants that record too. Wouldn't you think that just the way he has acted and the way he's performed as your GM the last decade, that'd be something he would want?
Potentially. I mean, I guess. I don't think they're going to, but we'll see. I mean, maybe they will end up playing him. I think it would make for a better game, obviously. But I don't know. I go back and forth on this because when I talk to John, he explains it and he's like, yeah, this is why they're going to do this and this is what they're going to do. And I'm like, all right, it makes sense. You want your guys healthy for playoffs. And then I think about it and I'm like, got a shot to make history. Fucking go make history. It's football. What do it's football. Like, what you can't.
I hate that attitude. Well, I want to be healthy. Go fucking play a game. Go play a football game. Jesus Christ, these are not China porcelain dolls. Go play a fucking football game, dude. You could get hurt. How many times this week or this year has AJ been injured in practice? 3? I mean, hey, Nakobe was injured in practice. I mean, you've had a ton of guys injured in practice. Okay? Go play a fucking game. Holy shit. Stop making these guys sound like they're 10-year-olds, man. These are professional football players. Go play a fucking game. Let's go.
They're making the script like they want them to play that. They put Tiki Barber. I see Buckhalter said they put Tiki Barber on the call. You remember when he said, Saquon, you're dead to me? And then the Eagles announced they're wearing all black. I'm like, what the fuck are they trying to? They're trying to create a little anticipation here. So.
They've made up. I've heard Boomer say that Tiki's reached out to Saquon and they've kind of buried the hatchet. And that, it just got the emotion of him because, again, you got to remember something. John Mara said it in that Hard Knocks. Saquon Barkley, dude, I will give you this. Saquon Barkley is one of the most popular Giant players in team history. In team history. And now you see why, don't you? You hear people the way they talk about him, what kind of teammate he is. Did you hear Kellen Moore today talking about?
He didn't produce that well there. He had a couple big years there, but he didn't do anything crazy.
They didn't build anything around him.
Yeah. I know that, but I'm saying I don't know why he was so historic for New York just because they spent a second rounder on him.
No, second pick.
Second, yeah, that's what I meant. Second pick.
Yeah. Well, hey, Giant fans knew that the Giants hadn't done anything under Dave Gettleman with him. They had no O-line. Any person that covers that team or follows that team knows that's been the worst era of Giant football between Joe Schoen and Dave Gettleman that I've ever seen. And now with him here.
I hope them dumbasses draft Jalen Milroe.
No. You know who they're going to take? The draft order, I think New England's got it 1, and then Tennessee's up there. I could see Tennessee, but there's no way that Deion's going to allow his kid. I could see Cam going to Tennessee. And I think both Cam and Shedeur Sanders are overrated. I think the quarterback class this year is the worst.
I like Cam throw though.
Milroe.
Cam can throw the ball a lot. Like he's been in situations where he threw it a lot this year.
I'll tell you what I do like about him. His pocket presence and how calm he is back there in the pocket. Yeah. He's pretty good back there in the pocket.
He's a passer, dude. He's a passer.
Yeah,
like I said to you yesterday, I think the game is evolving before our eyes, and the dual threat quarterback is not going anywhere. But I think you gotta have the ability to throw the ball well. You're gonna have to have the ability to throw the ball well, and Jaden Daniels is showing a lot of that right now. Lamar Jackson's probably your best example of it. Even younger guys like Jordan Love and C.J. Stroud, they're not runners, but they're mobile. Patrick Mahomes is mobile. I think that's where you're moving into. You're moving probably a little bit away from the statues, but you got it. Passing has to be first, and Milroe, it's not. Milroe passing is second.
Probably the kid that's in the draft is probably the one guy that I would think that would be ready to play would be that Dillon Gabriel kid. I mean, when I watch him play, if I'm going to take a guy in the first round that's going to help my football team and I need a quarterback, of all the guys, it would be Dillon Gabriel.
If I had a ready-made team, I would go for Dillon Gabriel.
Because look at Bo Nix. It kind of reminds me of the same kind of thing.
A team like that. Yep, a team like that. Is he a lefty, Gabriel?
I forget. He started at UCF. That's how I know him.
Brian said he's a lefty.
He's a lefty? Oh, my God. That means I'd have to rebuild my entire offensive line.
I know. I hate that.
I hate that, too. And then you know what you have to do? You can't have a backup that's a right-hander. You got to have a backup lefty, too, because what are you going to do? Flip the entire offensive line around?
I know.
Again. Your blindside quarterback?
That's why I was a little confused by the Atlanta move. Because Atlanta went from Cousins to Penix, and Penix is a lefty.
I know. And to me, I think that creates conflict in your O-line.
Absolutely.
Because now your right tackle is your blind side. And that's even a functional thing in your salary cap. Because most of the time outside of, Philly's got, do I think Lane could have played left tackle in his career and been an all-pro? Yes. He's one of those very few guys that could have played both sides, okay? Most of the time, Zander, when you have a bust at left tackle, you put him at right tackle or you put him at right guard like Micaiah Becton. Micaiah Becton's playing right guard for a reason. You know what that usually is? Because you failed at left tackle.
Yeah, well, that's where he is.
That's where you put guys in there. But he's excelled at the right guard position, which he's now making an incredible amount of money every time he steps on the field. Are you concerned about the 340 carries the most this week with Barkley?
Yeah.
And that's why you're not going to run him, is because of the amount of volume of carries. He's never had over 300 carries in his entire career.
I got zero concern. Zero. If you want to ask me about if I have concern next year, that's a different answer. You're talking about right now, he's a train. He's a choo-choo train, man. Every time he runs, he looks faster. Every time he gets in the open field, he looks like he has a new gear that he hasn't yet unlocked, and he finds it and runs away from everybody. So is it a lot of carries? For sure. Will it have an effect down the line? Potentially. Do I think it matters amidst a Super Bowl run? No, not at all. I hear your point. I'm not trying to knock you. I'm just saying, do I expect him to come into a game in the playoffs and just not be good? No. I mean, he's fine. He's fine. Maybe, like you said, maybe down the line, maybe next year, maybe a couple years from now, it takes some tread off those tires. But right now, I got no issue with it. He's running so well, man. He looks so fast, so fresh. He looks like he drank from the fountain of youth this offseason, man. He looks young. I mean, he doesn't look like a guy that had a couple knee surgeries. Not to me, he doesn't.
Here's why I 100% agree with you. If you're taking 340 carries behind the Giant offensive line versus taking 340 carries behind the Eagle offensive line, I'm getting hit by tackles and linebackers in New York. You know what I'm getting hit by in Philly? Free safeties. That's a whole different world, dude, than being dragged down by free safeties and corners, than being dragged down by Dexter Lawrence and big-time linebackers like Fred Warner. My point is, I'm not taking on the physical toll that I took when I'm in New York. The carries are different. You agree? I mean, the Giants had one guy, left tackle. The kid's a good player that they have. The rest of those guys were garbage. In Philadelphia, all 5 guys are Pro Bowlers. They don't touch him. Brian Dawkins said it on our program. They don't touch him until he's 40 yards in the line of scrimmage, and he goes like this. Guess who's hitting him? Free safeties. Free safeties are hitting Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
That's not making a big deal on him because he's running those frickers over, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay. When you're talking about New York or some place that has
there's no Brian Dawkins is back there anymore, Silz.
No. But my point is that you're not taking on those big D tackles.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But Brian Dawkins is a different story. If you still had some B-Docs playing safety, it'd be a different game. But no, you're right, 100%.
All right. One thing before we do the supers, because we got Merrill Reese at the bottom of the hour here. And we're only going till 5 o'clock today to give you guys a great New Year's Eve. We'll be with you guys tomorrow, man. So please be with us, too. It's going to be a great football day tomorrow. I got my top 10 power rankings for NFL football teams.
All right. You want me to
here
do
are my
mine?
10. What?
You want me to do mine?
Sure.
All right. I'll try and whip it up real quick.
Here's my 10. Here are the 10 football teams that so far going into the final week that I think these are the 10 best teams in the league. At number 10, I got the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Chargers play good on defense. I love Derwin James. I think Justin Herbert has absolutely – look at I'm awake or you. I said 10 Chargers. Terrible list. I love you. I'm awake or you. Terrible list. I named one name. Terrible list. All right. I got the Chargers right now at number 10. I've got the Los Angeles Rams at number 9. I've got the Washington Commanders at number 8. I've got the Green Bay Packers at number 7. I've got the Baltimore Ravens at number 6.
We have a very similar list.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles at number 5. And I'll make my point why. I've got the Vikings at number 4. I've got the Buffalo Bills at number 3. I've got the Lions at number 2. And I've got the Chiefs at number 1. And here's why I have those other 4 teams. By the way, the Eagles are in the conversation to win the Super Bowl, no question. The Minnesota Vikings and the Lions have had a better year than the Eagles. They play in the toughest division in football in the NFC North. There's no debating that. The Bills have the best player in the NFL, and the Chiefs are 15-1. I mean, the Chiefs are 15-1. The Lions and the Minnesota Vikings have had a better year than Philly, playing the toughest division in football. And the best player in the league is in Buffalo. And you got the Eagles at 5.
I don't hate it. I'm actually not mad at it at all. I think it's a decent list by you.
Chiefs, Lions, Bills, Vikings, Eagles, Ravens, Packers, Commanders, Rams, Chargers. And I left the Steelers out because I think the Steelers are melting down.
They are. We broke them.
Yeah, you did. 3-game losing streak.
Boy, my list is pretty NFC dominant.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the 10 I have are
I have
NFC.
7 of the 10.
Okay.
I got the.
By the way,
yeah, I got 7 of the 10 teams. That might be wrong.
Yale's right. If you wanted to put Philadelphia in at the 4 hole and the Vikings at the 5 hole, I'd be okay with that.
I think Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens are the three for the AFC for me. I mean, I guess the Steelers are the other team. Chargers, you had Chargers at 10. I'm fine with that. I put a different team at 10 just because I think they're a little bit better. But can you read your top real quick? Rattle them off to me.
Okay, I got Chiefs 1. I got Lions 2. I got Bills 3. I got Vikings 4. I got Eagles 5. I've got Ravens 6. I got Packers 7. I got Commanders 8. I got the Rams 9. And I got the Chargers 10.
Okay. All right. You ready for mine?
Yeah, please.
All right. So 10, I got the Buccaneers. I put them in over the Chargers. I think they're playing better. I think they're getting healthier right now.
I debated
guy
that.
Who stepped up in place of Chris Godwin's been great. Mike Evans is a beast again. Looks like he might break the 1,000-yard mark again. And Baker Mayfield's just, I mean, you can't do what Baker Mayfield does without skill. I don't care what anybody says. He's playing amazing football right now. And I like their defense, obviously, with Todd Bowles. I got the Bucs at 10. Number 9, I got the Rams. And this was kind of a toss-up to put the Rams or the Bucs here, switch them. But I went with the Rams. They have a slightly better record. And I like McVay and I like Stafford. So I gave them the edge and put them at 9. Number 8, I got the Commanders. Again, was thinking of going Packers here, but I think I'm going to give the Packers a slight advantage late in the year here because they're a playoff experienced team. They played late in the year last year, and I think they're a better team down the stretch here. But I do like the Commanders. They've come a long way. So I get the Commanders at 8. Number 7, I got the Packers. Jordan Love, streaky player. When he looks good, he looks really good. When he doesn't look good, he doesn't look good at all. But they've done pretty well, and their coach has done a good job even since Aaron Rodgers left. So Packers 7. Number 6, I got the Ravens. I'm not buying them as a real Super Bowl contender, but I do think they're a great team. And anytime you have Lamar,
because of defense,
and Lamar in the playoffs, man, he doesn't seem to be able to get the job done. So we're going to see, but I have them at 6. Bills, I got the Bills at 5. I know that's a little low for them, but I don't know.
Only lost this year by the Chiefs is to now it wasn't Buffalo.
I know, and I know it's low for the Bills. I know it's low, but I'm having a hard time thinking that Josh Allen's going to be able to do this all alone, all through the offseason, all through the postseason. I just don't see the guys there, dude. The horses aren't in the stable. I mean,
you don't think he can win 4 games in a row?
I don't in the play. I can't. I mean, and it's not a knock on him. I think he's a great player. Defense is ass. He really doesn't have great playmakers.
No.
I mean, there's not that many people there,
No.
So I got the Bills at 5.
He's going to have to play great 5 years in a row. It's a great take on how you're looking at that, because can he play? Because they're going to play in a wild card. You got divisional round, then you got the championship. Then if you make it, you got the Super Bowl. It's 4 games in a row.
Dude, if somehow the Bengals sneak in and the Dolphins have to lose and the
Denver Broncos,
Denver has to lose, and then the Bengals have to win. If they sneak in, that's going to be the first round matchup for the Bills.
Wow.
So think about it. Josh Allen's going to have to be not great. Josh Allen's going to have to be
exceptional,
MVP exceptional every game for 4 straight playoff games. That's an uphill battle there.
And get this, you're probably going to have to go Burrow, Lamar, and Mahomes if you're Buffalo.
Right, exactly, which is absurd. Number 4, I got the Vikings. I was thinking of it. I put the Eagles edging them out because I think the Eagles are a little bit more well-rounded, but Vikings got great playmakers. Sam Darnold is delivering the ball. I know we all expect him to turn into a pumpkin, but look, guys, at what point can we give him the benefit of the doubt? Like, you can't throw for 4,200 yards in the NFL and 35 touchdowns without talent. You can't. I don't care who you're throwing to. Sam Darnold's doing a damn good job. And
you're buying Mayfield now, right? You're buying Mayfield now, right?
Well, that's why I have him 10.
Yeah. Well, people are going to have to start buying Darnold too, like you're saying.
I've liked Mayfield since he came out, but he's definitely. I'm now buying him as a top 10 guy.
Yeah.
All right. Number 3, I'm going Eagles. I'm going Eagles right here. I don't have them above the Lions yet. I'm going Eagles at number 3. My main concern, the main reason I have them at number 3 is I don't think you want to be one-dimensional in the playoffs. And I haven't seen, like, I watched that Lions team last night, and I know that defense is cheeks, but our offense, man, we don't move the ball like that. Don't move the ball like that. They go up. It was like butter, man, watching that game. Butter. Detroit, carving them up, getting playmaker. I mean, Tim Patrick's getting involved. Jahmyr Gibbs is involved. St. Brown's involved. Jameson, everybody's involved in that offense. And that's the reason I gave them the edge over the Eagles at number 2. Number 2 for the Detroit Lions. And number 1, your 15-1 Kansas City Chiefs.
Can't get around it. I mean, you just can't get around how good the Chiefs are. I mean, and plus, here's the thing too. It's a great list. They're absolutely getting better. Okay, they're getting better right now as a football team, Kansas City. Weren't they doing this a year ago too? Andy Reid has that innate way to get that football team ready to rock and roll towards the end of the season, just like he did a year ago, man. That's a pretty damn good list. All right, Zander, let's do the supers here. We got Merrill Reese at the bottom of the hour here.
Yeah, good stuff. Looking forward to hearing from the great Merrill Reese. Seth, wait, let me go to the bottom. I'll get to you, Seth. Rick says, Brick, what's up, brother? Hire Johnson, OC head coach, trade off Hurts and Pickett, roll with the Mormon missile, sign a few elite defensive linemen to pair with Carter equals multiple rings. How you doing?
Hey,
holy shit, Rick.
Hey, Rick, I don't think they need to make that much of a decision when it comes to adding more players. I think what they can do in the offseason, I think they can do it in the draft. Hey, by the way, just to show
how you doing, Rick?
Hey, it's my boy Chop Robinson's making a strong case for the NFL Rookie of the Year, and he's in that conversation. Do you want to hear my ballot today? Do you want to hear my ballot right now, real quick? I sent this in. There's one more week. I got Jared versus number 1. I got Quinyon Mitchell, number 2. Q was number 1 last week. I got Chop Robinson, number 3 from the Dolphins. I got Fisk from the Rams, 4. I got Cooper DeJean, 5. I got Kamari Lassiter, 6. I've got Bullock, 7. Teron Arnold, 8. And 2 guys I loved, Edgerrin Cooper is 9, and Peyton Wilson is 10. The 3 guys that I wanted the Eagles to draft, Chop Robinson and Cooper, Edgerrin Cooper and Peyton Wilson, these guys are in the top 10 of the Rookie of the Year defensively. And I think Verse is going to win it. But here I'll make the comment.
I don't think Quignon's in the running really anymore.
Well, here, Zander, here's to me. There's got to be some accolades for this team if they finish number one defensively. I mean, somebody's got to win something.
Not really.
I guess not, because nobody's going to
listen, because you know how it is, right?
Yep.
The Browns unit has taken a step back, but Myles Garrett's going to win an award. You know, the Eagles are
AJ's
a unit.
going to win it.
The Eagles are a defensive unit, right? They're a defensive unit. They're not, and we talk about this. As good as Jalen Carter is yet, he still hasn't reached that level of you have one game record. We don't have that on defense. We have a great collection of talent that Vic Fangio is pulling the most out of every player, and that has combined to make a number. There's no our offense is pieced together way differently.
You don't have
you have all-stars. You
don't have an elite player. You don't have an elite player outside of Jalen Carter on defense.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I mean you don't have an absolute game changer like a Garrett, like a Watt, you know, like a Bosa, one of those guys. You don't have that yet.
You don't. Now, that's not saying in 2 years you're not gonna. Okay.
I think Jalen Carter's on his way to being that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But I guarantee you this. I promise you, there'll be other guys that are going to make the all-pro team. Like Chris Jones is going to be cemented into that. And you know who else is going to be? Cam Hayward for the Steelers is going to be the other D tackle.
Another great player, man. Another great player.
Okay. Those two guys are going to do that. All right.
Let's keep rolling here. Brian Pump, what's up, brother? Appreciate all your support, Brian. He says, well, we better win the bowl this year because that 2026 schedule is a gauntlet. 2025, but yeah, it is. Jalen Hurts better step it the fuck up with his inept ass. Did you see that schedule?
I did.
We're going to the Chiefs. We're going to the Packers. We're going to the Vikings. We got holy shit.
Yes, sir. Get that passing game going, baby.
Right on the bench says matchups is key. I think Philadelphia O-line can control Detroit defensive line more than the opposite. With Minnesota, our D-line can create more pressure against them. Right on the bench, I think you're right. My point is that Detroit's scoring 35 points. Can you keep up?
Minnesota.
All right, great. Philly O-line controls. Are you going to score 35 points with that O-line in the run game?
I think Minnesota's
that's my take, though. It's not that we're not going to control the lines. It's that we're not going to be able to keep up.
Minnesota's O-line is underrated. Okay? It's about the fifth best group in the league this year. They're good, dude. Dude, they got a 1,200-yard rusher, and they've got 2,000-yard receivers. I mean, they got a 4,200 passing guy. They're pretty balanced in what they do up there. That guy, Kevin O'Connell, is the slam dunk NFL Coach of the Year. Matchups will be key, though. Agreed.
That's for sure. Brian said, good guys finally win. Yes, sir. I think he's talking about the jersey. He emailed me. Brian, thank you, bro. I'll email you back once I'm off here. All right, man. And I'll get your information and I'll get you your jersey sent out. Brian, I'm sure that one of the great things that you take pride in, Brian, is that you are 100% anonymous in the chat. All right. Do not worry. Big Z will not disclose anything to anybody about any of our great viewers that contact me. All right, Brian? So you don't got to worry about that. All right. Seth Shifley says, also, Detroit's man coverage plays well to our offensive strength, especially with AJ going up against a rookie corner.
Yep. Okay. Teron Arnold. Yep. They are also, without Aiden Hutchinson, they're not exceptional either when it comes to pass rushing. The guy they got from Cleveland, Smith, though, is a pretty good ball player.
Yeah, and if they get Carlton Davis back, but also they're not going to. You think they're going to leave a guy man coverage all game with AJ Brown alone? They're going to give him help with Branch or Kirby Joseph, somebody. They're come on, man. They're not going to. Maybe there will be moments, but they're not going to. That's not going to be the overwhelming part of the game. Seth again says, hey, Silz, what's the formula to beat Detroit? Do you think Hurts' legs make a difference?
Yes, I do. I think you run at them. Because again, they're not very good and very stout in that run game. And I'll tell you what, man, I'd like to see. I want Detroit to prove to me you could stop that slant pass, because I don't think you can. I think if they run in between the tackles with Barkley, they get play action going. It'll be a nightmare, in my opinion, trying to stop that slant pass with A.J. Brown. I want to see that. That's why I'm saying I think Minnesota's more set up to stop that, because they got more playmakers on defense to handle that offense than, say, Detroit does. Detroit's banged up. A completely healthy Detroit, I think they're in there. But Minnesota's healthier, dude. And I think Minnesota might be playing as good as Detroit offensively. Did you see what they did against Green Bay? I mean, that kid threw for 380 and 4 touchdowns.
The thing is that Minnesota plays a lot more games that are dogfights. And I like the Eagles in a dogfight. I don't like the Eagles in a shootout. That's the difference for me in the two teams. But I think what you're saying is right. Eagles Talk says Sirianni has a cringiness to him.
It's the word salad BS that he
That's
has.
Putting it mildly, I would say.
I think you're being kind.
Yeah, he's very cringy. Brian Pumper again, 31st in passing. Are we sure it's not pretty privilege? If he had Jordan Davis's face, he looked like he would have been benched. No homo. McKeister movement loading.
Wow. Drop the homo reference. Thank you very much. Happy New Year's.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Yo, Brian is hilarious.
He's going to win the Super Bowl. I want to thank everybody. You think he's accepting the Academy Award?
Oh, my God. Brian.
No homo. Okay.
Knight, he does win. Cringy, but winning. He does win, Knight. You got to give him that. But Knight, he also does have a great roster, which is a credit to Howie Roseman. So,
yep, it is.
But you're not wrong. He does win. All right, we got a couple more here. High tie. Look at it. Are you chirping me with the roll tide? Fuck you.
Man.
All right, here we go. Eagles all day. Clock management. What you talking about?
Yeah, all good. Eagle all day. Thank you guys very much here, man.
Barbarian. Wait, I got one more. Barbarian says our defense is great, but the reality is the Eagles are one superior edge rusher away from being a real killer defense.
Yes. I agree with that.
I agree.
Time.
We got two edge rushers. We need a beast.
Hey, Paul, what would Myles Garrett look on that defense? If you put Myles Garrett on that defense?
Please don't have me dreaming that.
Dude, Myles Garrett on that defense, you could start getting your tickets to New Orleans.
Dude, Myles Garrett on that defense is insane.
That would be absolutely crazy. Zander, great stuff, my friend. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, man. You're killing it. By the way, you were right. Nick had to walk into Jeffrey Lurie's office on his knees today. Hey, do you think we can get the record today? What are you thinking?
It was never Nick's decision.
It's right. No, hey, guys, what do you think? I want him to get the record. Goes into his dad's house, and his dad goes like this. No, we're not getting the record. Hey, guys, I'm sorry I made it the call here. We're not going to do it. Get the hell out of here, man. Look at this here. Eagle all day. What do we got? Keep them off the field.
Long drives.
You're right. Here's another one here. You see BG coming back for the playoffs? I don't think so. That kind of injury that he has is about a 6-month job.
How about Bonehead today chirping me? Where's my jersey? I'm like, dude, you won it on a Christmas Eve. I God forbid that Z takes a day off here and there. All right, I take a day off. I get to the post office yesterday. I shipped this thing out. I got to send Bonehead the tracking number today to shut his ass up.
The tracking number to prove it that it's out. Who are you, Mike Missinelli?
I mean, are you kidding me, Bonehead?
Hey, Bonehead, what are you going to do? We're going to go to court over this? Believe me, we're used to it.
Where's my Jerome jersey?
Holy shit.
Elizabeth,
hey, no, we're used to going to court here, so go ahead.
Yeah, really. Holy shit. I love you, Bonehead. You're hilarious. Elizabeth, Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all JAKIB Nation, man. Silz, this was a fun 24, man. What do you think? Good year for you?
Oh, my God. We grew this bitch like a crazy person, and it's been a great year. And I didn't know what it was going to look like, with our moves, and it's been better. I mean, I think we have absolutely, what you found out? John Madden made a great comment before. He said this: sometimes when things is looking like your ship's going under, the rats come to the top of the ship. And you know what? When your ship starts setting out to sea, you know which people you're going to go to war with and go out to sea with. And I think that's what happened this year for us.
Yep, absolutely, brother.
We knew exactly what was going to go down this year. And all of a sudden, we know the people we're going to row to sea with. Famous Big Silz words: Zander, I missed the super chat. Zander.
I know. I'll go and take a piss, and I'm like, I hear Celio crying in there. And I'll get to it.
Zander, I can't hear you. Hit F10, asshole.
Yeah, it's fun. The funniest thing that we get is people comment that somebody's Cilio's burner or Brian Pumper Cilio. I'm like, if you guys knew how illiterate Cilio was when it comes to computer and technology and using, I mean, this guy's been doing a show for 4 years. He barely knows how to click his mouse, for crying out loud. I mean, holy shit. This guy's not making burner accounts.
Hey, Cilio's got multiple burner accounts, and I'm like, what would make you absolutely think that I barely can log on? When Zander sends me the link, I'm like, is this yesterday or today?
Yeah,
Zander, let me go,
brother.
man. We're going to catch up with Merrill Reese here soon. We will catch you tomorrow on Birds 365. Thank you, my brother.
Yes, sir. 8 a.m, baby. First day of 2025. You're ringing in with JAKIB Sports, right, baby? Let's do it. Silz, thank you, brother.
Absolutely, man. We'll see you tomorrow morning, and then we'll also see him at 3:30. Don't forget our great friends at BetUS, guys. During this football season, especially this week with all these bowl games coming up, the YouTube 150, that is sign-up bonuses up to $2K. Your second is 125% up to $2K. And your third, go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Fastest payouts in the business, 24/7 personalized service, 365 days a year, live wagering on all major games. Plus, you get your own account executive. Do me a favor, go to betus.com.pa. That's betus.com.pa. Zander, we're not going to take a break here. We're going to go. And of course, because